I couldn't possibly. Just kidding, road me. I'm a 34 short, please. See you in a couple weeks, girls. Bye, Bobby.
This guy is a fucking icon. Also, I just found out that these two are played by the same guy, which is awesome. If I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, when I first heard of K-pop Demon Hunters by friends and family, I was a little sketched out. I was only sketched out because I thought it was a Disney movie. A Disney movie with female leads. A Disney movie with singing female leads. What?
No, all right. I know that sounds bad.
Now, before you hit me with the sexism card, please just hear me out. Let's be honest. Lately, Disney hasn't been really good with writing anyone, let alone women. But you might be saying, Isaiah, this is a Sony movie. I'm gonna be so for real, I did not look at any of the trailers. And can y'all blame me though? Because film studios, for some reason, don't know how to market their movies. I did not know how this movie was coming out at all. I didn't see a single trailer. I didn't even know this movie existed until I saw that one scene with Mira in the beginning, sniffing that one food. Like, I don't know what it's called, but her making that one meme face. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I stumbled across that image, and then my friends were like, hey, watch K-pop Demon Hunters, it's peak. And I was a little sketched out. But luckily, my friend said, no, it's not made by Disney. And that was enough. That was all I needed to hear. Because my main worry was that the characters would have been insufferable. But then I watched the movie, and gosh diddly damn, Sony, you did it again. I not only like one character, I not only like two characters, motherfucker, I like every single character in this movie. But I should calm down. Let's just break down some things, you know, take things one by one. First off, what I liked about the movie subverts expectations in a very weird way, in that it both does and doesn't. When it comes to characterization, like tropes, it subverts expectations, but when it comes to like plot, it really doesn't. And I think that's a good thing. For example, Bobby, the manager, like, he's a manager character. Every manager character is an asshole in like every single movie ever, but Bobby genuinely cares about the Huntrix. They even try and do a little fake out where they're like, ooh, is Bobby gonna portray the Huntrix for the Saja boys? But he like never does in the movie, which I think is pretty cool. But it doesn't subvert any plot expectations. This movie is very straightforward, and I don't want to say by the books because that makes it sound boring, but it's not. But I like the fact that it doesn't try and subvert expectations at all. It is what it is. It's a fun action musical that's fucking awesome, you know? I don't really like musicals that much. There are only 3 musicals I like, which are Hamilton, Beetlejuice, and K-pop Demon Hunters. I don't like any other musical. Well, besides Five Nights at Freddy's the musical, but I'm pretty sure that was a given, right? And even then, out of all of them, I like K-pop Demon Hunters the most because they do something I think a lot of musicals should actually start doing now, and that being that the music itself, like the reason why they're singing, is plot relevant. In most musicals, the music is non-diegetic, which basically means that although we can see it in universe, it's not happening that way. Hamilton is a non-diegetic musical. Even though we see it as these guys rapping and singing, in universe, these are just regular old conversations. But in K-pop Demon Hunters, it's all diegetic. In universe, they are still singing, and that's because their powers are powered by song. And it's like, that's so cool, and it makes sense. I don't know why we just didn't get this sooner. And while we're here, we should talk about the songs. All the songs are bops, bro. I like every single song. My favorite song is Your Idol. I listen to it like over and over and over. I know. If the Saja boys were real, okay, I'd let them take my soul. Because I would rather die than not listen to that bop of a song. And don't get me on Soda Pop. Literally during work today, I just kept on looking towards my friend, and just straight up, I just start humming it, and then we just start singing it. We do the dance too. The songs are catchy, okay, especially Huntrix songs. Even though I prefer the Saja Boy songs, like Your Idol is my favorite song. My second favorite song is How It's Done. I love that song. As a starter song to just introduce the movie and the characters, it is awesome. But not only that, okay, as a musical, does it work? right? Not only as a musical does it work because in universe there is a really good reason why they sing, but also every song has so much characterization hidden into it. It's beautiful. It's actually just beautiful. For example, pay attention a little when you're watching the movie on how different Baby Saja and Zoe rap, because in universe, right, Zoe was from America and then she went to South Korea, and Baby Saja is obviously a demon from South Korea, but is reflected in how they rap. Zoe's very fast paced, right? She's very quick. She's aggressive too, right? It's very quick, like a lot of American rappers. But Baby Saja has slower, like a more slower rapping style, which is very like more South Korean, as I'd say. I don't know a lot of South Korean rappers, but I do listen to a bit of K-pop, and when I listen to a K-pop, and I notice a lot of K-pop rappers rap a little slower than Americans, which is not bad actually. I like the different styles of rapping when it comes to like different areas of the world. Like obviously we have the UK and New York drill, even though they're under drill, which is a section of rap. Even New York versus UK, the styles are still different, and it's just awesome. And not only is it the way the characters rap or sing, but also the instrumentals, right, that also prop up characterization. You're probably gonna notice throughout this video, my top 3 favorite characters are literally in order of number 1 to number 3 is Zoe, Bobby, and Baby Saja. I love all 3 of those characters the most. It's just for real. But something I noticed with Baby Saja is in his rap in Soda Pop, you can literally hear I'm a little kettle, short and sweet. I think that's what the song is called. You know, do 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 do. Like you can hear that in his rap, which, you know, is supposed to be like, his name is Baby. He's supposed to be an infantilized, you know, he is supposed to be the youngest of the group, right? He is the baby character of the group, right? But like also something I noticed in Your Idol is specifically the movie version. When Baby Saja raps, the smoke behind him does like a like it hypes him up a bit. Like it literally helps with the beat. But from what I can tell, right, I think it's Gimon is the Demon King's name, right? Gimon emerges from the smoke, right? So I know it's probably not supposed to be explicitly like this. I think this is more of my headcanon. So I don't know if this was intentional or not, but it does seem like it's like a father hyping up his kid to do better. But no, all the characters are great. All the songs are amazing. Speaking of characters, let's talk about the villains of this movie, the Saja boys. I don't really count Gaimon, I think that's his name. Okay, I could fact check it, but I like yapping and you guys hearing my actual thoughts current moment. I do little researches here and there, but you know, my main video style is yapping. I'm a yapper. I'm Isaiah the Yapper, not Isaiah the Yonko. Not anymore, at least. But the Demon King, I don't count him as the main antagonist. I mean, I guess he is technically the main antagonist, but he's not the constant force pushing, right? He's the main villain, not the main antagonist. That's how I would describe it, which they can be true. You can have a main villain and a main antagonist and they not be the same person. I think that because that's definitely what's happening here, and I prefer it this way. But the way the Saja boys act with each other is honestly how I want most villain groups to act, right? It's just a bunch of, I wouldn't say best friends, but they clearly have some liking towards each other. Like they clearly, like, I guess you could say it's like work friends, which honestly is pretty awesome if that's how it's supposed to be viewed. Because it's the little moments I like notice when watching the movie where it's like these guys are fun to watch, not because they're all the time scary. It's because they're scary when they need to be, goofy when they need to be, and they show like camaraderie. Like, I think villains are 20 billion times more scary when they can get along more than the main characters can. If you have a villain group made of best friends, they are going to be scarier than a villain group made of people who clearly do not get along. Only because you know they'll have each other's back. Or at least on some level they'll have each other's back. I guess like a moment I could point to is just like the small moments between them was like when they're running out of the stage from the little like interview they did where they did the drinking contest, and one of my favorite moments was Baby Saja's like only line is goo goo gaga. It's fucking funny. But like when they're running away from the stage, right, you can see Abby carrying Baby piggyback style, and Baby's like fucking throwing his hands like in a circle, like in a hype circle, trying to get him to go faster. At least that's what I'm seeing when I see them run away. I think it's so funny that it's just a group of like. Another thing is these villains are very Gen Z coded. I don't want to. I mean, it's a little weird to say that because I'm Gen Z. I'm 19 years old, but like, I'm gonna be so honest, if me and my group of friends were a bunch of evil guys, I feel like we would act very similar to how these guys acted. I mean, they joke with each other, even in the movie. Like, for example, Jinu, I think I'm saying his name right, Jinu, right, and Abby in the bathhouse scene, I actually did laugh at this, is when Jinu's starting to make fun of Huntrix for following him to the male's bathhouse, and Abby automatically follows up with, yeah, I know they would. That one's been staring at me this entire time. Like, I think that's funny. I think that it's nice that they can talk to each other like that. I'm actually happy that Jinu was not like this asshole of a villain who was just belittling all of his subjects or whatever. And even then, Gaimon wasn't even 100% like that. Like, when his subjects' plans were working, he wasn't a dick about it, right? When his subjects' plans were working, he treated them right. And even like a little headcanon of Gaimon hyping up Baby during his rap because he's actually happy that their plan is working. Most villains nowadays, if a subject's plan was working, either A, they would be like, well, it was my idea the entire time, or B, they would be like rushing it too much, you know? But Gaimon lets Jinu cook until the slither of doubt in Gaimon's like trust in him starts to fade a little. Then he becomes a dick. But you can actually understand it from his perspective, right? I think that's actually pretty cool. I think we should get more villains who, I mean, obviously Gen Z coded, because I'm not gonna lie, Jinu fucking hitting that little hee while running away is fucking hilarious. And yet he is still scary. Like, the whole group of the Saja boys are still scary at the end. Not only because A, your idol is a catchy song, but B, it's like the plan worked. It worked. I think that's also great that the plan pretty much worked. They almost won. That's insane. Nothing bad went into their plan. And that's another thing. Villains that are not like what's the word I'm thinking? Incomparable? Like, villains that are not blatantly stupid. Gaimon was not stupid. Technically speaking, Gaimon and Jinu did nothing wrong in their plan. It literally only stopped working once the power of friendship came and ruined it. And you know another thing about that, the power of friendship, that actually not only made sense, but it also worked very well. And I guess I'm gonna have to lean away from the Saja boys. I'll probably make a whole video on the Saja boys. I'll lean away from the Saja boys to talk about our main characters, Huntrix and Bobby. So I'm gonna talk about them from my least favorite to most favorite. And I know what that sounds like, but no, I'm not saying that any of the Huntrix are bad. I actually like all of them. I think they're all really great characters. It's just that out of the peak some of them are gonna dip a little, which kind of makes sense. That one doctor said in the movie, I don't remember his name, in order to understand a piece, we must understand the whole. So as a dynamic with the Huntrix and Bobby, which instead of saying Bobby over again, just know that when I talk about the Huntrix, I'm including Bobby, okay? He's a very important character to their characters, actually. The one thing I can say about this movie that I love is the fact that it's so obvious that they're friends. The fact that they can act super comfortable around each other and no one's like grossed out or weirded out by how either of the other acts is awesome. Guess the best way to describe my point is looking at the first actual scene of the trio in the movie. Not the intro. No. I mean when they're in the airplane and they're carb loading. Look, all I'm gonna say is if you've ever eaten out with a group of friends before and you're gonna tell me that you've never just straight up said something to one of your friends with your mouth full, I think you're lying. I actually just think you're lying. Isaiah, you might be asking, how do you have a favorite? Well, it really came down to how they sang. Well, I wasn't really into K-pop before watching the movie. Now, obviously the movie got me into K-pop, but I still prefer the hip-hop of K-pop. If you understand what I'm saying, I like the rapping sections way more than like the singing sections or like the backup singing section. I don't know how like to break it down, but it really just came to my preference on how they sing besides preference of character. I actually like all the characters equally. I think Bobby, Mira, Rumi, and Zoe are all fantastically written, and honestly I would not change a single damn thing about how they were written. I would change the pacing of the movie. I think the movie was a bit too fast, but then again, that's just more of me wanting to see these characters more. But it really did come down to how they sang. Not saying that their singing was bad, but mind you, this isn't like ranking, oh, who is the best singer. No, this is just ranking my preference on like how they sang. Also, this isn't a video essay, so don't expect some deep analytical analysis of each character. No. I'm going based off no script, memory, water, and dreams. So enjoy the rest of the video. Oh, like and subscribe. You made it this far in the video, so why don't you do that? Also, what the fuck? Also, wow, that was a little weird. Let's talk about Mira first. All right, listen, I really like Mira's character, although I was a little worried because when it comes to blunt characters, people just kind of make them have like no personality at all, but Mira is the exact opposite of that. I actually find Mira really funny, especially in the doctor scene where he's like squinting and looking into her eyes and she looks back and he jumps back and fucking like, I think it was like a meow I heard, or it was like a squeal, and she's like, yeah, that's right. I thought that was funny. I like that she has personality, even though she's blunt. She does these cool facial expressions. I also like how her voice, even though it's mostly monotone, it still has a range that you can clearly tell within her voice. Whoever voices Mira, props to you. Not a lot of people can do that. There's like only one other voice actor I know who can pull off a very monotone blunt character really well. Rumi as a main character is pretty interesting because it's not like she's a bad main character. I actually really like her as the main character. It's just there's so many questions I do have, and it's not like they break the film. I also like her singer, whoever sings Mira or voice acts Mira. Awesome. It's just, you know, who is her dad? You know what I'm saying? Like the whole she's half demon and her dad was the demon. It's like, where is he? Who is he? How'd that happen? How'd that start? Right? Because her dad being a demon implies that on some level there are good demons, right? Which I think is interesting. Also, the lie reveal plot, I usually hate those, but I think it works here, especially with the way the rest of the characters acted. Like, you see Rumi's like, hey, I'm so glad, you know, that you guys were on stage with me. It's just, you know, I can explain, let me explain. And Mira just pulls out her, what's it called? I think it's like a blade staff or something, or a blade pole, or a sword pole. I don't remember what it's called. Also, all of their weapons are cool. I actually like every single one of their weapons. But like, she just pulls out her weapon on her and says, get back. What? I think that's cool. I think a lie reveal plot should do that more, where it's the characters act reasonable. Like if you found out your best friend was a demon, right, and your whole life you were taught to not like demons, and especially since they never told you, I feel like you'd be a little hurt too, you know? But yeah, Rumi is a very awesome character. Also, my favorite scene with Rumi has to be, and I don't even think it's like a 100% like a Rumi thing. It was when they meet the Saja boys for the first time, and she fucking falls over. I don't know why, but the way she looks when she falls over was so fucking funny. If you even let Bobby hum into a microphone, the hormone would have been restored like for centuries, not just a year, for centuries. But enough Bobby glaze. But in all seriousness, I love Bobby's character. I like how he subverts the manager, characterization like I talked about earlier in the video. I think he's awesome. I like how he actively does his best. And I like the fact that he genuinely does like his girls, as he calls them. I think that's pretty cool. And obviously my favorite scene with Bobby has to be when he's like looking at the phone and like a soda pop is playing, so he starts moving his sodas and Zoe starts moving her sodas too. Bobby's a fun character. But let's talk about my favorite character, Zoe. A few things. First off, I love bubbly characters, and I like the fact that they even call her a people pleaser. And when she asks her friends, you guys would tell me if that's how I am, and they're all like, oh, nah, you're a people pleaser. Like, I think that's pretty cool. It adds more depth. I like bubbly characters with depth, Also, again, it really came down to a rapping style. Singing style. I love rapping so much. I love her rapping sections. Every single 100 song, my favorite part was the rapping section, besides Golden, because literally they get only Rumi. It's not Golden is a Rumi song. If you look at the line disparate, like when you look at the lines and you realize how many Zoe and Mira sing and compared to Rumi, it is insane. I'm pretty sure they get like one line out of like the 3-minute song and everything else is just Rumi. But Zoe is my favorite character. I love every single scene with her, especially ones where she's being goofy. I think my favorite one was when they're sitting next to Saja Boy and she just fucking giggles, hey, like that. I find that hilarious. Okay, I'm a very simple. Yeah, I find that funny. But yeah, those are my thoughts on K-pop Demon Hunters. I want a sequel. Okay, I'm telling you, Baby Saja didn't die at the end. All right, I'm pretty sure I did not see him. Also, come on, right? Listen, hear me out. All right, if the sequel is Baby Saja as the main villain, we can get a Baby Saja versus Zoe rap battle, and I literally will be on my hands and knees paying the movie theater. They're gonna be making bank that year. Okay, if there is a Baby Saja versus Zoe rap battle, they'll be making bank, because I'll be rewatching it in the movie theaters every single day of my life. All right, okay, can we get a sequel now, please?